I'd like to call the meeting to order.
I'd like to say Happy Veterans Day, and we appreciate those that are with us that have served. And we just want to say we've been thinking about you all day, obviously, so thank you very much. Number 3, awards and recognition.
All right. So tonight we are excited to continue our recognition of outstanding teachers selected by our local Scott County Education Association. And by the end of this year, SCEA will recognize a teacher at each school in the district for their innovation and dedication to their school and their students. Mrs. Courtney Casebowl, if you wouldn't mind to come on up, I'd love for you to join me up here so we can present these awards together. And we have with us tonight celebrating teachers from both Garth and Lemons Mill Elementary Schools. So first, I'd like to ask Cynthia Prater, a 3rd grade teacher at Garth Elementary School, to come forward. Come on up. All right. That's awesome. Yeah. That's raising the bar. Yes. Ms. Prater is a talented teacher at Garth Elementary School and serves as second mother to her students, letting them know they are part of her family. Cindy is full of positive energy that is contagious to her colleagues at Garth. She offers her students the comfort of a warm smile every single day. She puts her whole heart into her lesson plans and uses every inch of the physical space in her classroom. On a personal note, I can tell you that some members of our board would wholeheartedly agree that Mrs. Prater has made a lasting impression on their children and their lives. I'd like you to please join our friends at SCEA in recognizing Miss Cynthia Prater.
That's right. Well, there you go. There you go. Congratulations. Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
All right, next up, Lemons Mill 4th grade teacher Jessie Turner. Please come forward. Ms. Turner grew up in Georgetown as a graduate of Scott County High School. She was nominated for this award by her peers who praise her for how she handles her classroom each day and for going out of her way to form strong relationships with her students. And she loves them dearly. Because of the time she invests in building genuine relationships with her students and their families, the kids in her class show tremendous growth. She's described as the epitome of grace and compassion. It's been a difficult year for Ms. Turner, but she has served as such a comfort to her students, helping them cope with the tragic loss by listening to them and loving them without end. Thank you, Jessie, for making relationships a cornerstone of your classroom and for making a difference in the lives of your students.
Congratulations, Ms. Turner.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much to our teachers and for the awards. We greatly appreciate you and all that you do for us, and thank you for the entertainment in the back of the room. Okay, number 4, agenda approval. All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 5, we have public comment. I would like to add, just take a couple of seconds, just to add in, we have 4 people who would like to speak. We will listen to what you have to say. This isn't usually a time where the board reacts. We listen to what you have to say and take things into consideration, so I just want to let you know that procedure, and then if you could try to limit it below 5 minutes, we would greatly appreciate that. Our first person listed is Bernard Boatwright. If you'd like to come up and have a seat. Hello there.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for allowing me to speak. Now, I'm making comments pertaining to a wage increase for transportation workers. In the workforce now, we have approximately, I guess, 6 to 8 people that's over the age of 60. The crew that's coming in now are a lot younger and female, and they have families, and basically asking for a wage increase because the older drivers are leaving. I might be one of them. Because, and for that reason, we'd like to ask the board to consider a wage increase for the transportation workers. The past few months, the surrounding counties have increased wages for their transportation workers, and we'd like to not to be left behind because of that. According to the 2020 census, Scott County is the fastest growing county in this Commonwealth, but the wages don't reflect that, and we'd like to have that changed and have some type of incentives also for the transportation workers. And I appreciate the job that you all are doing. I want to say it first, but my mind went blank. But I like to say, because of your jobs, it's very stressful. I understand not being in your shoes, but I can imagine that there are a lot of stresses on the policy making and things that you all do here. And at the same time, the transportation workers are behind the steering wheel of the bus, looking at the 7 gauges, the 7 mirrors, 62 children screaming, and the traffic. And so our job is pretty stressful also. And we'd like to ask you all to consider a pay raise for our transportation workers. And we thank you for the time that you allowed me to speak. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Albright.
Thank you very much. I have Courtney Casel.
Hello, good to see you guys again.
Hi there.
First, I want to say thank you to you. Thank you for your time today. I'm here today to speak on behalf of the Scott County Education Association and many teachers in our district. Right now, the optional masking is a topic of conversation in many districts in here in Kentucky. And just this week, Governor Beshear has announced that we have an 11-year-old that has died from COVID-19 in the state of Kentucky, and he is calling on school districts to keep universal masking, at least through the holidays. The SCEA board has been tracking the WEDCO data, and it shows a decline in the incident rate. However, the cases in children are holding steady or on the rise. The incident rate is dropping, and some things that we need to consider will be the percentage of students who are fully vaccinated, The weather is changing, so more people are going to be indoors in the winter. There could be other infections like flu that could be alleviated by masking as well, and we definitely want to keep attendance up. As we all know, there is a shortage of bus drivers. If we make mask optionals in school, but still mandate those on the buses, we are asking even more of our transportation department and our bus drivers. And trying to get them to enforce the masking when the kids have been all day in the classroom with that optional and then having to wear that on the bus. A school nurse has reported that the district is starting to run low on disposable masks. And a neighboring county in Bourbon County, they actually offered on October the 27th an optional masking. And then on November the 4th, they went back to the mask mandate. And just recently, they had sent an email out to parents discussing that they may need to make arrangements during Thanksgiving to try to slow the spread of COVID-19 in our districts. We don't want to go through that. We want our students in the building. We want to be able to teach. And Scott County Education Association, we just ask you all to please keep the mask mandate until at least through the holidays. The parents have had time to have everyone fully vaccinated, and our teachers have had the time to get their vaccination from the booster. And everyone can be fully protected from this virus as well. So please take that into consideration, and we appreciate you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jeremy Emerson. Hello there.
Hello. So I come here tonight speaking as a member of the community. I'm also a current city council candidate as well. Two of the things that I want to share with you is how the school system can get involved in our community more. I sat in a meeting this month, and I heard, and I'm sure that a lot of you have heard about the situation, what happened at our college here over the last few weeks. And I got to thinking, this person was talking about some of the hurt that's happening, but also the need to drive on and do things. And I got to thinking about, just how recently the Great Crossing team, they went to the state championships there, and you all had a rally for them. And I got to thinking, I was like, what about going before the school board and posing to you all something to think about, as far as maybe coming together and cheerleaders or school staff or whatever, and just showing some support for the administrative staff at that college, and maybe some of the students as well. But I'm also a soldier as well, so and I'm a retired one, and we use motivation tactics all the time to help us drive, to help us move on, to help us persevere. And you'd be surprised just how much that just seeing somebody out in front of a building and just saying, we support you, we're thinking about you. And it coming from another school system within a college that's in the same town, I just think that's a very easy way that the school system can get involved in the community. And I don't know how that works with your schedules, but that's why I wanted to pose it to you that way. The other thing is, also as a community member, I live in a neighborhood where we also experienced some of the acts from the TikTok challenges and things like that you saw in the school system. And we still have remnants in our neighborhood of that. But it got me to thinking too, in my past life I was a youth pastor as well. And I used to think about how you want to bring about change and you want to try to right a wrong at the same time. You come up with an alternative situation. And one of the things that I want to tell you about, and maybe you've already heard of it, but it's called Overcoming Obstacles. It is a life skills curriculum, and it's free. And it could be something within the school system that you can do as a club or as a group or, however many school systems that want to get behind it. But it involves teens and adults. And it has actually K through 12th curriculum that you can use. But the idea that I saw for it is that you could use that to counteract the things that are kind of going on, not just in our community, but nationwide as well. And it's also teaching the children at the same time to deal with real problems. And it also takes people like myself within the community and other people that have had known struggles, life struggles, and it pairs them up with people that they can actually talk to and see, hey, I've had these things go on in my life, but look at me now. I'm still able to work on these different things. I know that there's risk in who you can and who you can't do things with, but what I'm talking about in the safety of all those type of situations, also some of those risks where we're taking to show people that just because you do things sometimes the wrong way doesn't mean you can't right those wrongs, and you can't lead a tremendous life as well. So those are the things that I wanted to share with you about tonight, and I'll stay until the end of the meeting if you want to talk more. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Michael Whitcomb. Good evening.
Hello. No, my chickens will love that. Hey, I'm also with Scott County Transportation Department, and just like my brother here, we're looking for a wage increase. I want to thank you all for letting me speak, and I went through chain command before coming up here, so I believe in chain command. I'm very thankful to have a job. Okay, we have a lot of people in Scott County that are great drivers. I mean, we group together like a family. Aides and monitors. This year's been stressful for everyone. Okay, you're all happy here. This is kind of funny when I come in. You're all laughing and carrying on. That's nice to see. Okay, when we're transporting kids, sometimes it gets stressful. Okay. The wage increase, the reason why that I support it, okay, personally is, he's right, there's families that are, I've been with transportation for 19 years. It's not the same town, it's not the same job as it was 19 years ago. People are trying to live off this income, you know. When I first started, you could work 2 jobs. It's a little bit harder to do that now, okay. A lot of our drivers, or a percentage of our drivers, they don't live in Scott County. They live out of the county. They got together and put the surrounding counties, you know, and put together what they're paying. And I'd come into the clock-in station, and I'd hear them talk and stuff like that, and not thinking anything about it. And they had papers there of the wages for the surrounding counties, and I'd be kind of like, look at it and go on the way. And then when no one was in there, I kind of looked and just curious, go down to 19 years and went across and realized there's one county that's paying over $5 more an hour. And I was like, wow, you know, have we been competitive? You know, Scott County wages, everything's gone up. It's going to go up, okay? I don't want anyone to leave. We need to keep every driver we get in there, okay? We have a lot of new drivers coming in. Things are getting better, and I'm happy for that. I'm excited about the new drivers. Aides and monitors also, it needs to be restructured and looked at a little bit more in depth and say, hey, are we being competitive with not just surrounding counties, but also our local jobs, okay? And that's how I feel about it. I don't want to lose any driver at all. I think that's the key. We've had people come in and want a job, and they put them through the program, but if we keep what we have and increase a few drivers every year, we start doing good. It's just, you know, I don't want a driver to look somewhere else for a job just because overpaid. You know, that's the last thing that I want them to do, because if they got it in the heart to transport kids, I want them to succeed. I want them to realize that this is the place that they want to be. And that the people that come in from other counties, okay, we paid more. We paid more than they did. And we had a better school system than they had. And there was a little bit more, there was better structure, and they feel comfortable and safer with their buses. So when they come to Scott County, they were like, hey, this is the place they want to be, and they've been here for a while. But that pay is, you know, making their heads turn other directions, and we need to keep them. And that's, thank you for listening to me, and I appreciate you all. And I thank Mr. Parker, you know, for allow, we went through chain command and just make sure that, hey, we just didn't want to show up. We wanted to let him know that, hey, we kind of want to speak our piece. So, okay. All right. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for those who have joined us this evening to
Bring your thoughts to us. We really do appreciate it. Item number 6 is consent agenda items A through J.
move to approve. Second.
All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 7, establish calendar committee for the 2022-2023 school calendar and appoint a board member.
Move to appoint second.
All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 8, student achievement reports. Hello.
Good evening. Today I'm going to just talk about a few things that are happening in the life and world of student achievement. The first thing is, since the last time that we have seen each other, we had our first staff collab day, and it was a great success. We saw a lot of great things happening in the district around our 3 focus areas: accelerated learning, PLCs, and culture and climate. Part of the accelerated learning work that was happening dealt with looking at our curriculum maps, revising them, getting feedback, continuing the work with that. And then with PLCs, we saw a lot of great things happening within teams to look at how they are increasing engaging assignments and aligning the rigor of the formative assessments that they are providing to students. And then with culture and climate, we were really excited to be able to have Dr. Roger Cleveland join us, and he held some trainings for not only our teachers, but also for some of our support staff, such as counselors, friskies, EL staff, around diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I'm really thankful that we had 2 of our board members that were also there, Ms. Powers and Ms. Duncan, and so teachers and staff left really inspired and walking out with common language and a better understanding of what that really means and how we can take some just really simple steps to furthering the goals that we have with diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I don't know if Ms. Powers or Ms. Duncan have anything that they'd like to add related to that.
I thought it was fabulous job. I really did. I enjoyed it. Kind of national conferences for the history and AP and all those different things, and you go into those sessions and you say, can I just get one nugget? If I just leave with one nugget that I can take back to my classroom to make my space better and make me more effective, then it has been worth it. And I felt like I walked out with more than one, and I'm not even in the classroom anymore. So I felt really good that the leaders that were in the room with us and the teachers that afternoon, that they would have walked away and continued to think about what he said and how he shared it. I was very impressed.
And typically, those types of things are, we classically call them sit and get. But he was very engaging, and he exponentially explained, the difference between equality and equity. And, if anything, like, he drove that home. And I think everyone, that may be the one thing that everyone profoundly left with, was that difference.
Awesome. Thank you guys for your feedback and again for your participation. We also have just completed our first round of district standards benchmark assessments. And right now teachers are in the process of looking at those, providing us feedback so that we can then use that and make it even better. So we're really excited about that. The other thing that has been happening is we just provided our 6th through 9th grade students with a career tech ed interest survey. We had a tremendous response. That population of students represents about 3,000 kids, and we had over 1,000 responses. And so what we're really excited about is just that whole awareness piece of our younger students, because we're wanting to make sure that we are putting that in front of our kids earlier so that we can have those conversations, and we can also provide support to our staff on how are we collaborating with our community and how are we providing those authentic learning engagement opportunities. Typically, we will give some sort of an interest survey, but it's been way too late. It's been in the spring. And so we wanted to do that earlier in the fall so that as 8th graders are having those visits with high schools and looking at their schedules, that they're able to really kind of put pathways to action on what they actually want to do and what they want to explore, because that is a huge piece of our post-secondary readiness indicator. And then the last thing is, we're in schools every month intentionally observing PLCs in classroom instruction. And so we are really proud to see an improvement with the intentionality around learning goals and success criteria and formative assessment. It has been just amazing the work that our teachers and our principals are doing to make sure that it is very clear across the board, like regardless of whether you step into a 3rd grade classroom at one school versus another, that kids are on the same page, high rigor assignments. And so we're really pushing to make sure that we're continuing to have things that are engaging for our students to learn in, so that it's not that sit and get, and that they're having those opportunities to engage in conversation with each other on what they're learning. And so we're really proud of that. Any questions related to that?
I'd like to know a little more about your survey. It's
Yeah.
6, 7, and 8, right?
6, 7, 8, and 9.
And 9.
Uh-huh.
So out of all of those children, do you have any idea the percentile that took the survey, that actually completed it, turned it in?
So, like I said, there were, that population represents about 3,000 kids, so over 1,000, so about a third of our students responded to that survey. What we're doing right now is we are looking at those results and getting a good gauge on where are the interests lying right now as it relates to those career pathways, and also what questions that students and families might have related to what those pathways look like in action. Because we really do want to make sure that if a student has a passion or interest in a pathway, that they're learning about that earlier, that they're getting engaged with that, so that they can have more of those opportunities to obtain an industry cert or to do a co-op or to have an apprenticeship opportunity. So various things like that are going to be really important related to this work.
That as well. So if we only hit a third of them, can we maybe deliver that survey again in the classroom setting so we hit more than a third of them?
Yeah, we could certainly look at pushing that again. Again, this is just an initial inaugural effort to provide some awareness. So again, it's not anything different than what we've done in the past, and I would say that our responses in the past have been even lower than that, so we're really proud that that has improved with this round. In getting that in front of the kids earlier, now those conversations can be more authentic and targeted about what they really want to know about and seeing the possibilities that are even available to them in our district.
I was hoping for at least half.
Yeah.
And I know as a classroom teacher, I've often taken 5 minutes out of each class period to do like a Title I survey or Title IX survey. And, if we could maybe tailor it that way so we can get a better result.
Yeah.
That I think that would be helpful.
Thank you for that.
Well, I think your timing is great. I think
Yeah, the
changing
timing is
that,
great,
what has been needed for a long time. And I think that the quicker the children see the pathways that are available, the better, to see what's offered. So, did any of them give you any ideas of things that we may not offer yet?
It was really interesting because there were a couple of responses, but not an overwhelming amount of responses. One of the things that stood out is there was a trend a little bit related to aviation, but that was really the only thing. Some of the other responses, the kids had an opportunity to input into the box like additional things that they wanted to see, and a lot of them were really just confirmation of the pathways that we already offer. So they would say things like, I really want to do something related to health or nursing, or I really want to do something related to agriculture or culinary. So it wasn't anything that we don't offer, which indicates to us that maybe we just need to dig deeper into making sure they're understanding how what we offer in a pathway aligns to their interests.
I think a lot is lost in transition somewhere of what is available and what they have already set in their mind of their goals of where they want to reach. I also think maybe a little more emphasis on that we cherish what they think.
Absolutely.
When I looked over your survey, I loved everything about it, all the way to the bottom.
Okay.
And I'm not sure that there's a fix for this.
Okay.
This is not any type of criticism whatsoever. I don't mean it
I
that
feel
way.
criticized. I mean, we've got to learn from each other, and we've got to use the feedback to get better. So
I just think
appreciate
maybe a little more emphasis on that we want to hear from you what your goals are. You know, what profession do you see yourself in 15 years or 10 years or 20 years? And that way perhaps we could restructure a few things, add to, or even improve on. I mean, I know some of the things we have, they've got a waiting list to get into those classes, you know. So, like you and I have spoke several times, that you're looking on ways to improve those, to improve on what you already have, and I think that's fantastic. I just don't want to miss any opportunity that a child says, okay, these are the 300 things I've got to pick from, but, well, I kind of like this. You know, well, if they have in their mind that these 300 is what I've got to pick from, I'm going to pick something out of that that's close to what I think will work, but I might not tell you the other part.
Sure.
And that's all I was getting. I know I felt that way. I know that some of the other children that have spoken to me, they missed that part altogether.
And, you know, I think that that's some great feedback. I think that what we want to do is kind of dovetail that interest survey with some of the other career cruising opportunities that kids have to talk about what they want to do. So there is a Naviance, it's like an individual learning plan platform that we use in the district for all of our students, where they are able to indicate based off of their interests what career they may want to go into, and it will give them information related to programs they can go into in college that offer that, what they could get paid related to going into that field. And so we really want to make sure that we're kind of putting all those things together to have a full picture of what kids want to do.
And lastly, and you would know far better, I'm sure, but my thought would be if there was a way to check the temperature of, say, a junior or a senior, and saying, is there anything that you think that could have been done to improve the career pathway that you have chosen?
Absolutely.
Yes, exactly. There you go. Something along those lines.
Yes, for
So
sure.
something that you would have liked to have taken and we didn't offer it, or anything along those lines, the exit survey.
Absolutely,
is
and
spot
that is a
on.
part of the plan, and this is just step one of that plan to get in front of those younger students first.
Outstanding.
Yes.
Very good. Any other questions from Neosha?
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you. Number 9, first reading of proposed revisions to board policy 09.4341, alternative education. Do I have one? No action, sorry. Sorry, I apologize for that. Nope, I was ready to do approval on the next one, sorry. Number 10, approve agreement between UK Singletary Center and Scott County Board of Education.
Move.
All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Approve student-teacher agreement between Northern Kentucky University and Scott County Board of Education. All in favor? Those opposed? Those opposed? Did I have a question? No? Okay, I'm sorry. Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 12, award bids for bid notice 2022-010 through 2022-020.
Second.
All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 13, consider acceptance of 2021-2022 CATS offer of assistance.
Second.
All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 14, approve items for surplus.
Second.
All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 15, financial statements.
Got a couple of months for you today. The September financials, we started with $13.6 million. We had receipts of $6.9 million, expenditures of $8.5 million, leaving in as an ending balance of a little over $12 million. And we had no investments. We're getting to that point in the year where our cash flow is the lowest will be before the tax income comes in. So I know we had a question about why there were no CDs. We switched banks with our investments, and because of the rate we get, just having our money in our bank account, that's what it would pay for a CD at this time. So we've just lived it all in cash.
It was just odd, I don't remember that I've ever seen one where there wasn't some CDs listed there.
We, the last one we had, it was based on the Fed fund rate.
Yeah.
So if the Fed fund rate was so low, we didn't get any interest. And now we have a floor, so we at least get something a little different.
Makes sense.
The October statement, we started out with a little over 12 million, 4.7 in revenues, 7.6 in expenditures, leaving us with a little over 9.1 million. Y'all have any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Gina. Number 16, approve current bills.
Second.
All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 17, superintendent's report.
All right. Today was, again, we want to just honor our veterans today, and Phoenix Horizon did an excellent job of that. I know we did that across our schools, but I was able to go to Cracker Barrel with Dr. Ugg, and he got a ticket from Phoenix Horizon. Their JAG program there, they raised over $4,000 to feed veterans today, so veterans were able to go in and participate in that free of charge to them. It was a really good experience. Got to see a lot of people I hadn't seen in quite some time. Under strategic leadership, there was a emergency connectivity funding grant, and this summer, Maria and Gina both were thinking about, is this something we want to pursue? Because at the time of it, it was looking like everything, you all know how it was. Everything was looking good. Numbers were down, and so the question was, well, do we go after this? Do we not? Well, between Mrs. Bennett and Mrs. Amos, they decided, why would we not go after this in the max amount that we could go after it? And there are some strings attached to it, so it's not just, we can't just use it for anything, but we were awarded the full amount of $2.1 million from that grant. So kudos to both Maria and Gina for that. Again, this is one-time money, so it's not something that, that's reoccurring, but it definitely in the times that we're dealing with as a growing district, it certainly helps. I would also like to add, additional kudos to them because I had new superintendent training Wednesday, and it was interesting when it came up in conversation, and you could see heads turn, like, what? And then they were asking there, and then in the afternoon Gina came, so finance directors were there as a part of it, and they're like, well, did we do that? Did we apply for that? So we definitely came out as a winner on that. So again, very good work by Maria and Gina, and I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew how hard they worked on that. Instructional leadership, participated with our Human Resources Director Damon Stefanik. He led the way, and I just kind of chimed in from time to time. We did professionalism and interviewing at the ECS Connect 2021 this year, and that was just an awesome event. We had people from the community speaking on different topics. We had a variety of colleges, and VCTC was there. It was just a really phenomenal event. Sounds like we also got some news, from, we've got some work that came from that with some colleges and some awards that they might be considering for our students in the future. So we might save that announcement for another day. As Mrs. Williams had alluded to, Collaboration Day was definitely a success. I had some, specifically, I had a social studies teacher come up to me after it was over and say that it was just very timely and some of the best experience that he's had as far as PD in his time in Scott County. I thought that really spoke to what we'd offered. We have in the room with us, as I get to cultural leadership, the Garth Elementary donut eating champion, Principal John Salyer.
I'm so proud. Can I get
He
a
put
challenge
down-
coin?
Oh,
Definitely a coin for that.
Oh, my
I'll put it in
goodness.
a donut hole and feed it to you. Jeez Louise. No, he can put down some donuts, but it was interesting because of the fact that, you know, here we are and then I start talking to some people at the school and they're like, this is, we think, the first thing we've done in, you know, assembly-wise since COVID. And they're like, wait a minute, you know, like just thinking through all the things, the procedures that, you know, you just, yeah, just to kind of remind yourself. Yeah, it was really interesting. I already mentioned the Phoenix Horizons participation with Veterans Day. We had a couple of news channels show up to really showcase that. So you might see that on, I think, Channel 18 and 36 today or tonight. And you know, our Great Crossing High School volleyball success. I think they just about turned my youngest from a softball girl to a volleyball girl. I mean, it was definitely exciting to watch, it was definitely exciting to watch. We got to watch them, you know, just pound their way through the region and then at state, and then they competed at state, and then today they had the fall sports signings and had an opportunity to see a lot of those same students there, and really had a chance to really celebrate them again. So that was definitely a great opportunity that I got to be a part of today. Human resources leadership. I gotta commend Dwayne Ellison for his work with. We've got a group that I think we've referred to in the past, that our facilities maintenance group with other districts around. It was originally designed to be a Big 15 group. We didn't get all the members of Big 15 in, and then we invited other guests. So now we refer to ourselves as the Dirty Dozen. And so the Dirty Dozen had passed around a lot of ideas, and one of the ideas was just thinking about creative custodial services solutions, and Dwayne and Gina had really been working through that, and we think we might have some solutions that we can put forward, because I know that's, you know, we're talking about how taxing the time this is on everybody, and it's definitely, there's definitely an increased workload for both the custodians we have as well as the staff in our schools as well. Again, kudos to Maria Bennett for digital learning coaches. So she found a pocket of funds that we were not utilizing in the district, and it was tied to COVID, but anyway, it's not something that would be reoccurring for multiple years, but it is something, you know, it definitely fit. She found a way to fit it into some of the things that she's wanted to work on that are above and beyond what a school technology coordinator would be involved in. So this will be more instructionally focused. This will be teachers that are a part of this. And again, I commend her for her efforts on that. As you all are aware, I mean, I've brought this up for the past several months, and you know, I started to not bring it up, but I thought, well, as much time as there's been spent talking about it and considering it and looking at it, you know, we are continuing to look at our salary schedule and make considerations for that. Under Standard 5 managerial leadership, our refinance of our bonds. So with that, that went awesome, and we captured, I guess, $2.6 million in bonding potential. So that's not cash money, but that is again, every little bit helps. 2.6 million in bonding potential. That's correct. So that's great, and you know, kudos to Gina and Dr. Hub for their work in making sure that we had everything set up, and then it was just a matter of trying to find the right timing, and our partners at Baird made sure that, you know, they kind of tipped us off, hey, we think the time's right, and so we went after it. We were really pleased with what we were able to see out of that. Collaborative leadership, met with Scott County Education Association. I had a meeting with them. They discussed some survey results of some things, some information they had collected. So we had about an hour and a half meeting, I think it was, like last week or so, and we just discussed that and tried to think about maybe low-hanging fruit and things we can do to support our certified staff. I had a planning meeting last week as well with some local businesses and the chamber and BCTC. There's going to be a community forum at the next chamber meeting on December 13th, I think it is, that Monday. And myself and several other people will be involved, and it's just going to be really focusing on, just continuing to enhance the pipeline that we have in Scott County to make sure that we're funneling our students to being prepared to be a part of the workforce and making sure we're doing everything we can there. And then last but not least, under number 6 is working with WEDCO to get them to adjust their hours a little bit for the next few weeks so that we can get a time for boosters outside of school hours for our staff, as well as that 5 through 11-year-old age group ability to get their vaccines as well.
I have a quick question about that, and if this is a dumb question, just say so, I'm moving on, but between HIPAA and FERPA, is there any way for us to track what percentage of our students from high school to preschool are vaccinated at any point, or is that something that we'll never know because of those sorts of things?
We might have in my mind, I'm thinking of a couple of ways we might be able to get at that number. The only difficulty that might arise is by the fact that we may not be able to know if there are students or not. We could latch on to students in that age range.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Sure.
And then from there,
For WEDCO.
Yes.
But obviously
Yeah, I
we
think-
won't know if they've gone to CVS or to Walgreens or somewhere
Right.
in Fayette County.
Right.
I assumed that was the case.
Yeah, I was thinking we were.
Yeah, we would be able to know that who is vaccinated, what age group. We just might not know that if a Fayette County student or something came and did their vaccination here, vice versa. That's what he's talking
there
about.
may be
We'll
some-
know how many kids.
Okay. I
5 through.
I thought he just meant through WEDCO.
No,
Okay.
Waco gets all that.
Yeah.
There is a database with
Okay.
all the
So
vaccinations.
if a child goes to CVS or
Dr. Miller
Walgreens or
shared
whatever-
that before in the past, that, hey, you're,
I was just
11
curious.
to
My-
12.
my
Not
only-
that there's anything we would, that it changes anything, I just wondered if we would ever.
Well, my point is just that if we can't assume that they're Scott County school students. They might
Yeah,
be
that's it,
homeschooled
yeah.
or whatever.
Sure.
That was the piece that I said.
or there's St. John's or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Gotcha, thank you.
Plus, I thought that we would have to go in and individually look up every single shop.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, we wouldn't
the
have
system's not
ours.
set up.
So, and trying to see that
Sure.
plethora of, did they
Yeah.
get it, did they not this week, today, yeah.
Yes.
And one of our kids went somewhere else.
Right, sure. There's that potential as well. That's some of the
Let's have
counties.
that.
Yeah, I think there's no way. to
I've asked
get
that.
We can get close.
Ways.
I think we can give you a
Yeah.
close number.
Yeah. And then the last one, influential leadership. So Dwayne and I had I thought it was a great meeting with Damon Thayer. We went in talking about school facilities and some of the challenges we face with the bureaucracy that exists within what we're dealing with the school construction. You all know we've talked about this at length on other projects as well as this one. And then that morphed into conversation about some other things, and I could see the light bulb go off when we were talking about the challenge that we're facing as growth districts and the fact that we're still using that 18-19 attendance rate, and because he was aware, he had heard enough that that definitely it's something that we're dealing with, but didn't understand the extent of it. And
The impact of what it does to the growth districts versus
Right.
the other one.
And our size versus, yeah.
Yeah, when we were talking about the fact that it's impacted us negatively to the tune of $6 million. It's really, So it was a great conversation, and he was very open to hearing just the different challenges we were facing in any way that he might be able to help Scott County and our community. So
You realize that's a $6 million loss
yeah,
for us,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Did any conversation about funding all the kindergarten, that seems to be like the thing that might actually happen.
We talked about that, Tom. I don't wanna share too much on that one right at this time. But yeah, we talked about that. We talked about that, and then also one of the priorities you'll see so you might have seen the task force, me and Gina were looking at it the other day. There was some recommendations that came out from the task force that met. I think Max Wise, the education chair for the Senate, I think he might have been the head of that. He was a part of it, I know. But at any rate, in that group, some of the things they came up with, fully funding kindergarten was one. Also, fully funding transportation was one of the recommendations. I don't know how aware the entire General Assembly is on all of those things. Yeah, yeah.
Keep on having it.
Yeah.
General Assembly.
The good news about the transportation piece is it's, you know, unlike some other arguments that are more difficult to explain, you know, if you just look at that seat calculation page that we've got, that every district has, if you just look at what transportation should be funded at versus the prorated, what we get, then you're like, hey, this is what we should get, this is what we get. Subtract that out, and you see, I mean, Scott County, we're a loser to the tune of $2.5 million that we're having to come up with every year out of our general fund, so, and it gets worse. Yeah, yeah.
So now you're up to 8, it's not long before that 8 turns to 10.
Right, right.
That's yearly.
Yeah, yeah. So again, you know, and we know we're working on everything we can to try and squeeze blood out of the turnip. So, but we'll keep doing it. So that would conclude my report.
Good, thank you very much. Thank you for those conversations too. We're really reaching out to those folks. To help us out long term. Number 18.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries.